Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to No More News. I am Adam Green. Thank you all for joining me today. Wednesday, what is September 25th. Oh, wait, sorry. Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. Got a huge show today. Gonna be discussing the Noahide agents in our midst. Demons, the Shroud of Turin, and a bunch of other stuff. A bunch of Christian copes. A bunch of material news, some of the latest with Trump as well. Gonna be a big show. Book is almost finished, and also I was just working on preparing another video about Paul's heavenly Jesus that's gonna be really good. Can't wait for you guys to see that and get the book. Okay, first, Trump again saying Epstein is a Democratic hoax that never ends. Talk about how great he is instead. It's not going away, no matter how many times he keeps saying this.
Says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release.
But supposedly they're all gonna they did release a whole bunch of material last night, and I think they're having some press conference today also. We've got, Nancy Mace, she's the Zionist congresswoman, was visibly upset as she left the meeting with Epstein survivors at the Capitol. She declined to answer questions from reporters as, in dramatic fashion, stomps out of the room. Looks like she's been crying. She's got her cry face. Speaking to the victims. It's almost like a Binders moment, I feel like. But we'll see. Here's some more.
Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him
Yeah, the Democrats decided to hoax Trump with the guy that they were so close to. Sure.
everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given, but it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street.
Wasn't it like martial law, or what did he do? He brought in the National Guard or something?
Now, and nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do. All run by Democrats, or for the most part run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. Sure. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein whatever. Sure. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough, because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
Says he isn't.
Not going away. Meanwhile, while we're busy talking about Jesus, denying that Jesus is Jewish, fighting over Hebrew scriptures in the Bible, the BRICS nations and Putin and Xi and North Korea attend China's largest military parade in Beijing. It looks so much better than the Trump military parade. It's shocking.
Commemorating the victory in that war.
Well, we're talking about who is a woman and the best way to worship the King of the Jews. This is what they're doing over here.
War of resistance against Japanese aggression, as well as the World Anti-Fascist War. And now the leaders...
Anti-fascist war, the fascist, Edomite, anti-Semitic West, the the globo homo antichrist West. That's your narrative.
World anti-fascist war. And now the leaders are arriving at that expansive viewing platform up on the Tiananmen rostrum.
Some of the veterans of the War of Resistance were given their own viewing spots on top of the
Iran
Tiananmen
there,
rostrum.
huh? Or is that guy from Iran right there?
Crowds are welcoming
Or is that India?
China's top
Modi
leader,
there?
as well as international dignitaries. We are seeing veterans sitting there. And President Xi Jinping and international dignitaries are shaking hands with a 99-year-old veteran, 100-year-old veteran from the 8th Root Army.
Note the ethno-state. All the veterans are all a bunch of Chinese
Veteran
dudes.
from the 8th Root Army.
Wait till you see the rest of the parade. They're all Chinese. They're all uniform.
From the new 8th Root Army.
They made our troops look like
South China Guerrilla Force.
unfortunately.
100-year-old veteran.
Here we go. Here it is. Need more ammo. Like China building clone armies while our people are still messing with Jewish myths. Sad. And extreme leftism too. Look at this. Is that even real? That looks like AI. Are you kidding me? Hold on. Ours looks. I don't want to shit on America. I'm just. It's devastating what they've done. The collapse of Edom and what we're up against. But this looks like freaking AI. Are you kidding me? But we need to do it. They're going to do side-by-sides, I'm sure, the anti-West propaganda. Whoa, settle down there, buddy. The anti-West propaganda. He's doing the Elon over here. Whoa. The side-by-side between them marching and our troops marching. U.S. has trannies prancing around in uniform. Yeah, they have that, but that's not what it all is. And I'm sure we got some badass dudes too. But this puts Trump's to shame. So is China doing AI? Is this fake? Hold on, those had to be fake. Guys, are they using AI to fool us here? What is this? It's too perfect. It's like they're just mirroring the same person. Everyone looks like, did they just do AI NPCs and make they all look just like clones of each other? Is this fake? Did China really put this out? China's Victory Day Parade was its largest display with Chinese. Dude, this is unreal. It's real? Hold on. Dude. Is diversity their strength? Look at this. Commie Jew propaganda, demoralize. It feels demoralizing. This is insane. Like Amalek said, drone army. Really is a drone army. There's more videos? No Christianity, and they're able to... Funny, they have no Christianity, yet they're able to achieve all of this. This is what we could be if we got rid of Christianity. It's a serious drone. Wow. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. Okay. Jack Stone says, the fact that we never know if anything is AI or not anymore means we're probably already cooked. Jackson Hinkle posted the complete 1-hour video. I'll have to go skim through that. I imagine that was like the highlights of the best parts, though. Or was there more? All right, we're getting the power chat turned on. Link is down in the description below and over in the live chat where we're streaming on Odysee and Rumble and X. Getting that turned on. Every dollar helps. Can't do this show without you guys. If you guys enjoy it, please chip in so we can continue making them. Okay. Myron Gaines, fresh and fit, sounding extremely Noahide. Whole lot of Abrahamism being promoted all over the new based in red-pilled media, the echo chamber of nobody's allowing to question the Bible and the prophecies, sounding very extremely Noahide in this clip. Check this out.
Not Muslim, not Christian, not Jewish.
I grew up in a Muslim household, but I'm not religious.
Okay. I was more like just curious as to why.
Well, I mean, something that I definitely want to, become closer to. I do think that religion is very important. I do think that it answers a lot.
Hold on. He asked you why you don't believe, first of all. I think I know the position he's in. He doesn't want to offend his Muslim family, his Muslim friends. He says he's learning Arabic now. Doesn't want to criticize the Jewish religions, the 3 Abrahamic Jewish religions. He asked why you don't believe. Obviously, because if you're smart, it's silly and it's Jewish myths and prophecies are fake. But instead, he goes into why he thinks it's important. He doesn't believe, but he thinks it's important. So this ain't it.
Well, I mean, something that I definitely want to, become closer to. I do think that religion is very important. I do think that it answers a lot of problems in modernity. I've just never been that religious myself, but I do have a great deal of respect for all the, all
Jewish religions. Great deal of respect for all the Jewish religions.
The 3
it bugs me when even the people that don't believe just won't like call a spade. Like, you're a big truth teller, but you're not going to say like, what do you think about the 3 Abrahamic religions? Oh, they're all Jewish bullshit. That would be calling it like it is. That would be actually being edgy and controversial. But none of the big influencers want to do that. None of the big names want to alienate their audience. There are a bunch of Abrahamics.
Of the book. Okay. Paganism and Hinduism and shit, though, that's just weird. I don't believe it.
Yeah, only the Jew religion's good, pagan religions, European religions, all the other religions of the world bad. Funny how that works. Very, very Noahide. No idol worship, only the Jew religions, like the rabbis say.
Paganism, I think that's a fucking problem. If you're worshiping idols and shit, you're a fucking weirdo. So, and I do think
idols,
that it answers a lot of problems.
If you don't worship the God of the Bible,
modernity,
the God of Israel.
I've just never been that religious myself, but I do have a great deal of respect for all the, all the 3 religions of the book. Okay. Paganism and Hinduism and shit, though, that's just weird. I don't believe in paganism. I think that's a fucking problem. If you're worshiping idols and shit, you're a fucking weirdo. So, yeah.
So, not Muslim, not Christian.
Worshipping Jew God, not a weirdo. Though. All right, let's do. What is this? Oh, yeah, some anti-pagan vandalism in Greece. Is Arcadia? I think that's where the guy did the Greek temple that the Orthodox Christians tried to shut down. Now they have gone and sawed off the legs of Pan, I believe that is. Sawed them off. Just Antifa Christian terrorism. Hating on the legends and the myths of white people in the name of the Jewish God. That's what they do. Isn't that lovely? Abraham. Looking for the other clip of his buddy. Shoot. I'll find it right here while we play this one. If it loads. His buddy Sneeko and Andrew Tate. Here, he says, if you believe in the God, which he means the Abrahamic Torah God, he says, we're brothers. Very Abrahamic, ecumenical, and Noahide of him.
Jackass back to Team Red Pill.
Nobody's allowed to question Jesus.
You are. America's not your blood. It's a place you were born in with borders. Yes, we should not have illegal immigration here. People that missed that went over.
True sent $10 on Rumble. Not a Jew. Can't wait for the Mizrahi interview.
Thank you, J. True. Mizrahi interview. Why are you saying that? We're not doing an interview. I don't think I've never seen him do a show with anybody like me, so I doubt it would happen. I wasn't even trying to do that. Was that just a joke?
You are. America's not your blood. It's a place you were born in with borders. Yes, We should not have illegal immigration here. People that went over everybody's head. They think because I'm calling out the lie about the cat eating that I'm woke now. No.
Jackass back to Team Red Pill. Zerka's my enforcer.
Look at Andrew Tate now. Black, white, Arab, we all worship God the same. Islam is the instant and final cure for racism, says Andrew Tate. 114,000 likes for the Muslim pandering, for the Abrahamic Noahide signaling. See what I'm saying here?
Me and Zerka are dragging you back to Team Red Pill because it's getting a little too woke.
That's where the union for white people that care more about their skin color than their faith, then it's for.
Here, this one's better. Sneeko says Judaism is a good religion.
I agree completely. Like I think Judaism is a good religion, regardless. Like people sometimes get upset. Like it's crazy, like the echo chamber you have. And then we should definitely focus on Zionism. But what do you think about this?
See, Judaism is a good religion. The Christian-Muslim alliance, keeping it all on the controlled Judeo paradigm. Dan Bilzerian hanging out with some Muslims at a mosque as well.
Think about this. I agree completely.
Dude, I'm looking for the clip. I thought I had it here. It's Sneeko and Tristan Tate talking about how they get their whole religion from Jews and knowing Jesus is a Jew. What is this? Oh yeah, look at what the Quran says. Israelites are mentioned 43 times. It says, "O children of Israel, remember my favor that I have bestowed upon you and that I preferred you over the worlds." So even Islam exalts the Jews in a way. Rabbis and Jews celebrate churches in Islam. Those rabbi says that it's a Noahide training center. That's how they see Christianity and Islam, and that is how they viewed it for a long time.
What do you, Rabbi? Do you consider the church or mosque as a Noahide training facilities? How can we better train to serve the chosen people? I think they're being a little bit facetious because they troll me a little bit with like this. How do we train to be better Noahides and stuff like that? But maybe you could train them a little bit. How do you answer this question?
I would say, yes, there are a lot of things in the church that promote the 7 Noahide laws. And you could say, if you want to look at it like that, it's a kind of a training situation that partial, to some degree, as if it were set up from above by providence. I think it's a reasonable thing to say.
Rabbi, do you...
Reasonable to say Christianity and Islam are Noahide training facilities. So, hold on, where are we? Myron says, the Abrahamic religions are all good and they're good for people, and doesn't want to ever criticize that they're all fake and Jewish, and this is how they control everybody under the keeping it on the Judeo plantation. They're all Jewish.
Judaism is the foundation of the Christian religion.
Are we exposing Jews, or are we affirming their religion and the spin-offs and the offshoots and the whole paradigm?
Judaism is the foundation of the Christian religion, and the Christianity is the foundation of the Muslim religion. Yeah. You have to understand that the Muslims believe
each other.
Yeah, exactly. The Muslim religion believes that Jesus Christ was a prophet of God, but not the son of God. And all of the prophets that are spoken about in the Torah, from Moses and Noah, etc., they are spoken about also in the Quran and the Bible. So they're all based on Judaism essentially. So I think it's very strange when I hear my Muslim friends.
So when Myron says, the Islam, Christianity, they're good. Real Judaism, like Sneeko or him might say, is good. But then what are they really doing? They're legitimizing Judaism. That's what they're doing. They're saying Judaism, Yahweh is good.
So, I think it's very strange when I hear, my Muslim friends or my Christian friends really trash Jews as bad people or stupid people when they put together the religion that became the building block of all of this. Judaism is the foundation of the Christian religion, and the Christianity is the foundation of the Muslim religion.
They're all Jewish. So when you refuse to criticize it and point out the obvious that they're all fake and Jewish, You're not real opposition. Can we get opposition that doesn't affirm the whole foundation and building blocks of Judaism and Jews? Can we do that? Is that too much to ask? This is where he says, we're all brothers if you believe in God.
And then there's a divide. Because I believe if you believe in God, you're my brother. That's where the unity really is. If we have
unity, we're everybody unity, believing in the Jewish Messiah, worshiping the Jewish God together as brothers. This is indistinguishable from what the rabbis talk about and what the rabbis want. Are you guys getting this?
Similarity in faith, not whiteness, not skin color. If you find brotherhood there, if that's where you...
Let's all unite as in worldwide Jew worship. Jew God worship. God of Israel worship. Not based on your people. No, let's all just worship the Jewish God together.
You see allegiance?
That's real unity.
That's not red pill to me.
As long as we all believe Judaism is true, you can be brothers with Sneeko, who says Judaism is a good religion.
To me, because if I was Christian and I saw what was happening in Haiti, I'd be calling out that lie as well. Because those are your Christian brothers. And I think that says that in the Bible. I think Jesus would want you to...
Guys, got to support your Christian brothers in Haiti. Come on. Jesus would. What would Jesus do? Let's listen to Roseanne. Funny, they all have the same narrative as Roseanne, right? We are in a spiritual war, all of us. It's not divided by religion. We're not divided, Abrahamic religions. The pagans sure are. Divided out, though. The non-Jew worshipers are evil and satanic, and they're in a spiritual war against us. It's divided by love and hate. Jews, Christians, Muslims, and everyone who is good and of God, of the God with the dash, so the Jewish God. That's code for, that's how you write the Jewish God. Jews, Christians, and Muslims, and all the Noahides together, who is good and of God, the Jewish God that chose her, come together to root out the extremists in each of our groups. People who push hatred and vile, satanic messaging need to be ostracized and shamed. And this is what is happening by mainstream Christianity. We all must look inward now and begin a purge of the MK Ultra and anti-God Nazi mind control. If you don't want to be a Noahide slave, you're a Nazi. You're Amalek. Do you see how this is just like what Sneeko says? This is the same rhetoric that Myron and Sneeko and Andrew Tate have. Do you see this? And Alex Jones. And Alex Jones. And
how are you going to get a Messiah that fixes everything if everybody doesn't go under it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Messiah comes, everybody's got to follow it.
Everybody has to. And so
everybody's got to just worship the Jewish God and his Messiah together. We're just fighting. A real opposition is not fighting on the best way to do that. Not fighting on if Jesus was God or a prophet or was died or not. All of those things. Between them and Stu Peters and Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes, the Christian-Muslim controlled op is on lock. They got their bases covered. Full spectrum, Judeo, Abrahamic, prophecy, dominance. Are you guys not seeing the same thing? Is this not completely obvious to everybody? Or is it just me?
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
You know, they have a connection to Abraham. Well, they hate God, for one thing, and they really hate Jews, and they hate Christians because, their religion comes from Judaism, and they hate Muslims because...
All right, we're starting over. Is this not blatantly obvious how they all have the same rhetoric?
And they really...
Anybody that's against their Noahide Jewish God is evil and satanic, and you will be blacklisted and slandered and suppressed if you don't go along with the Noahide agenda. The opposition is literally Noahides, Noahide groomers, and Noahide agents.
Well, they hate God for one thing, and they really hate Jews, and they hate Christians because, their religion comes from Judaism, and they hate Muslims because, they have a connection to Abraham too. They just hate anything that comes from Abraham. And why is that? Because Abraham said basically, hey, there's only one everything. Well, they hate God for one thing, and
See,
they really...
so hating God is hate. So not wanting to be a Noahide slave means you hate God. Not believing Jews were chosen by God and we're all supposed to bow down to their Messiah means you hate God. Christians do the same thing. I say Jesus is fake and Jewish, a Jewish myth. They go, you hate Jesus. You hate Christians. Same thing the Jews do. You're Amalek. You're anti-Semitic. You're Antichrist. All the same defense mechanism. So you gotta believe and serve the God that chose her and her people, which she includes Christians and Muslims in. Otherwise, you're satanic and evil and hate God, and that means you hate Jews, and that means you're Amalek, and you need to be ostracized and destroyed. And this is working. This is happening. Unfortunately. We're trying to break through. We're having good effect breaking through, but we're still being gatekept and suppressed a lot. Judaism is a good religion. Okay. Jay Dyer admits Christianity is basically a form of Noahide laws. They're following Noahide-esque commandments.
The commands. Paul, and in fact, his understanding of the Jewish interpretation itself is wrong. The Mosaic law was not given to the nations, to the Gentiles. It was given to the people of Israel for them to teach the nations about the true spiritual pedagogy and meaning of the commands. Paul says,
teach us your commands, Jews. How about no? How about
forget about it?
How about not interested? How about we don't want your Jewish covenant and to be grafted in to be sheeps and slaves to your God? How about no? How about not bowing on our knees to the King of the Jews, your Davidic monarch?
In Corinthians that uncircumcision and circumcision, neither of these things matter. The keeping of the law is what matters. So you see, later additions like circumcision and Mosaic law do not make a person righteous, especially when the question is the inclusion of the Gentiles. Bryson may not be aware of this, but his dispute, his question was already solved in Acts 15 when they had the council describing and deciding how Gentiles could come into the church, into the covenant, and be made right with God. And the decision is that, well, we ought not require anything more than was required of Noah. If Noah could be made righteous before God before circumcision and before the ceremonial laws given to Moses, then Gentiles can be in Christ on the basis of the pattern of the covenant given unto Noah. It's a very simple argument.
Oh, but a bunch of Noahides following this list of commandments and worshiping the God of Israel, no blasphemy. 2,000 years of complete insanity coming to a boil. Good way to put it. Christians complain about Noahide laws, but you need to realize, Christians fearmonger about Noahide laws. You need to realize that you are already Noahide laws. You are already Noahides.
There's a place for the good of all the nations have a wonderful share in the world to come.
Need more Amalek mix, Noahide in the sky. Let's do this one.
The good of all the nations have a wonderful share in the world to come without any necessity of officially becoming a Jew. If you don't have to convert to Judaism in order to have the world to come, in order to partake in eternal life, there's a place for everyone as long as you let go of idolatry, which is what I'm attempting to do right now. Again, you could be
Hey, just like Myron Gaines. Hey, just worship the God of Israel. No idolatry, no paganism. See the problem here.
Idolatry, which is what
Nobody has anything to say, huh? Are we even turned on? What's going on here? You guys are awful quiet today. Everybody's got a hump day issue, huh? Case of the Wednesdays.
Righteous Jews.
Olam haba, the share in the world to come.
By God.
Yes. Yes, not interested in being chosen.
Righteous ones, people
Anonymous
will
sent
survive.
$5. Nick Fuentes is the new Ann Coulter who gatekeeps at the furthest reaches of the Abrahamic matrix.
Did she do that? I don't remember her being a big Christian.
The Abraham Matrix sent $5 on Rumble. Shalom.
Shalom, Abraham Matrix. Thank you.
When Messiah covenant given to Noah.
All right, nice job. Nice job, Noahides. Oh, remember Ari Shafir on Tucker Carlson also promoting Noahides? Like I said, they're shroud shilling. We got later on Lee Strobel talking about demons on with Tucker. Tucker and Alex Jones and all these big mainstream alternative media. Ma'am, all shilling Jesus, Shroud of Turin, Abrahamic, kosher opposition is what they're maintaining. That's the status quo.
The non-Jews have 7 laws of Noah. That's all you got to do, and you get into heaven. And they're pretty easy.
They're great.
They're pretty easy. Don't eat an animal while it's still living.
Exactly.
Should be a no-brainer.
Don't kill.
Don't kill. Harder for some people, but not others. Don't rape. Even harder for some people, but most are still on the right side of it. I forget what the other ones are.
Adultery.
Yeah. It's not that hard. And you get to go to heaven, and you'll be right alongside.
They skipped over the main ones, which is no blasphemy and idol worship.
Not that hard. And you get to go to heaven, and you'll be right alongside a rabbi.
Well, not only that, they're like very reasonable.
Yeah, they're not like hard ones to do.
No, they're all kind of rooted in natural law.
Yeah.
No, I read that, and
yeah. When you convert, they're like, "What do you?"
That's literally the Noahide propaganda. Oh, it's common sense. It's natural law. That's straight out talking point. But then the rabbis will say, you can't do it because they're common sense. It must be out of fear of God. It must be because your faith in God.
Doing this for? You're just gonna make it harder on yourself. You're going to heaven already.
No, that's interesting. Okay, you don't feel there's any contempt at all in that.
There becomes contempt. You know, at the end where it's like, well, you're not in our group, so kind of fuck you. But that's not in the law. I mean, even Jesus is like, accept everyone, take them in.
Right.
But people don't really do that.
No.
Accept everyone, take them in. A lot of
White
Christians do.
Stag sent $10 on Rumble. Much love. Will you perhaps cover Fuentes talking against Thomas Sewell later? No big deal if not.
I thought about covering that compilation at least. The compilation I just shared of all the edits, that funny edit of Fuentes.
You know,
not at all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Liam. Maybe tomorrow we'll do that.
So, but I do think that the Sabbath laws are, you know, like if you're using somebody else to do something that you're not allowed to do.
Yeah. Well, I talk about the loopholes in that special where it's like you're actually not allowed to fully ask them, can you turn this light on? Because then that's like you doing it. But
so what's my implication?
It sure is dark in here. You know, I'm not allowed to turn the lights on. Non-Jews are allowed. But I can't do it. It does suck. I want to read. Yeah, it's so loophole-y. It's great.
I didn't know what the Talmud was until pretty recently. I'm reading it. I actually think it's really interesting.
It's very interesting. But so one of the commandments, you try to do as many as you can. Some of them are big temple-based, so you just can't anymore because we don't have a temple.
Not since 70 AD.
Boom. They're going to have another one in the Messiah, they say. So those laws will be back. But you try to do as many as you can. They're good deeds and they're bad deeds, but they're all like commandments.
The Messiah's going to come and they'll be back. I'm getting attacked by demons. And dude, all of the big Christian propagandists go on Tucker Carlson's show. He's a huge platform. When are you guys going to get it? That's the PSYOP. All of these Zionist gatekeepers and shills
Sober Jack Hardy sent $5
Jesus, that's
on
the
Rumble.
PSYOP.
I contemplate going to a Charlie Cuck event and asking him if he's globalist. He said if America was 90% Indian or Chinese, the nation would still be the same as long as it's Christian.
That would be good, yeah. We're going to cover some Charlie Kirk stuff actually in a little bit. Thank you.
613 of them.
Amazing.
It's nuts. When you get up the road from Tel Aviv, it's a windy road, and as soon as you get over that hill, it's a costume party. It's Fiddler on the Roof.
It's the best.
It's so weird. It's like you're living in an ancient time.
It's the most interesting place on the planet.
Dude. Okay. Oh, another Catholic bishop from Christians Posting Coal. Another Catholic bishop hanging out with a rabbi. Common Catholic L. When are you guys finally going to get that the church is a Jewish proxy? This guy was personally appointed by Pope Francis. Bishop Robert Barron. We need to watch this.
White_stag sent $5 on Rumble. What in the name of Odin's ravens is Tucker reading the Talmud for?
I don't know. Maybe investigating the memes that he sees online, possibly? What do you think? Why is he reading the Talmud? I need to see this. I want to see what the big Catholic influencer says to the rabbi. It should be good. We've seen him, C-Thordal's clipped them up when he's done interviews with Ben Shapiro. Getting Ben Shapiro, and they both say there's a lot of clips from that. Some really kosher stuff. Ben Shapiro, who also encourages everybody to go to church and be Noahides. He wrote the article about Christianity, is that it's Noahide also.
Civilization cannot survive full-scale secularism, and Western civilization cannot survive full-scale secularism and godlessness, and that's what we've been watching. And the restoration...
We can't have godlessness. No secularism. We need Noahides.
...of church is the fundamental basis of a restoration of the West. I say this as a Jew. Everybody who grew up in a Christian household and whose grandparents were Christian needs to go to church. Everyone. It is deeply, deeply important that they go to church and re-engage with their religious heritage and re-engage with God and re-engage with an absolute morality that suggests that there is a right and that there is a wrong. Because again, all the things that I just talked about spring from those biblical values. And there is no substitute for it. But if you...
Biblical values, Goy. I'll go to church, Goy. He says it over and over again. Here he is with Jordan Peterson promoting Noahide laws. Hey guys, if anybody, I searched for it, I couldn't find it. Find me the article, the screenshot of the artical, and post it in the chat of Shapiro writing about Christianity as Noahide laws.
There's this basic idea. So right, this is a distinction that Christianity is a universalistic religion, right?
Yeah.
The idea is that in the kingdom of God, everyone is Christian, basically, and Judaism is not in one sense, but it is in another, which is that God identifies a nation that he treasures as his own, and he has a special relationship with that nation. But
No, stop right there. I don't think so. Sorry.
Judaism is not exclusivist with regard to who gets into heaven. So there's this basic idea in Genesis that there are commandments that are given prior to the giving of the Torah, right? That there's what we call the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach, the 7 commandments that are given to the sons of Noah, meaning all mankind. And these are things like no murder, no idolatry, no adultery. They basically mirror a lot of the 10 commandments. And so the idea in Judaism is that it's almost like a priestly caste. God chose this specific group of people to be a light unto the nations by demonstrating.
Oh, we're just like the priest. We're just like the priest class, the nation of priests, and you're our flock. Here, Ben Shapiro, why Christianity is good for America. American Jews should celebrate the existence of Christianity. We should feel joy when Christmas comes around, because American Christianity is tolerant. The dominance of tolerant Christianity means that more non-Jews are fulfilling God's plan for them. Judaism does not seek converts. In fact, Jews are required to discourage non-Jews from converting. Jewish thought says that God does not care only about the Jews. The billions of non-Jews worldwide have obligations to fulfill as well. While Jews are obligated to fulfill the 613 commandments, Judaism says that non-Jews earn a place in the world to come, Olam Haba, by adhering to the 7 simple rules known as Noahide laws. They see Christians as almost perfect Noahide laws. The Noahide laws provide the formula for
Anonymous
a better world.
sent $10. Ari Shafir's take on politicide was wild. Judaism is truly a king-killer religion, except for their Moshiach king.
Yeah, King Bauer, all the kings of the nations and the Gentiles to bow to the God of Israel through Jesus. Remember how they had that like JCCP, Jerusalem Council for Center for Affairs or something like that policy? They had the article about paganism, and they said, no, we need to promote Noahide laws in Christianity and Islam and Noahide stuff, not paganism. American Christianity binds its adherence to most, if not all, of the Noahide laws. Why shouldn't Jews rejoice when Christians practice their faith? Observing Christianity often means fulfilling the obligations of the righteous non-Jew. That's a Noahide, the righteous Goy. May Jews and non-Jews alike serve the Creator in the way God meant them to. Funny, Ben Shapiro and all the big anti-Zionist guys all have the same narrative when it comes to Abrahamic gods. The Abrahamic God, I should say. Of course, it's a See Through It All post. Our guys are all over it. See Through It All's always all over it.
Demonstrating what a godly life.
Hold on, what's this Jack Stone post 2 minutes ago? Is it the same one? Yep. Jack Stone on it too. Amalek's on it too. Ben Shapiro loves the fact that Christianity...
Either your society, and there is no moral neutral, okay? Either your society is filled with the air and water of Judeo-Christian religion and tradition and morality, religion that has been time-tested and found...
It's exactly what Myron says.
Sober Jeff Hardy sent $5 on Rumble.
Again?
I contemplate going to a Charlie Cook event and asking him if he's globalist. He said if America was 90% Indian or Chinese, the nation would still be the same as long as it's Christian.
All right, thank you. I don't know why that played twice, but if you donated twice, thank you. Thank you, Sober Jeff Hardy. Dude, it's exact same pro-Abrahamic God, pro-Jewish God rhetoric as we see out of Sneeko, Andrew Tate, the Tates, Dan Bilzerian, Myron.
And there is no moral neutral, okay? Either your society is filled with the air and water of Judeo-Christian religion and tradition and morality, religion that has been time-tested and found to be effective and durable. Or you can have this new paganistic religion, which sees apparently no value to life whatsoever. This is the value of life in a pagan system.
In pagan societies, adults sacrifice children for...
Same narrative as Rabbi, or not Rabbi, but... Orthodox Jewish Chabadnik Zev Zelenko, same anti-pagan pro-Noahide rhetoric on InfoWars.
For themselves. These devolved pagans of yesteryear. God is really angry with you because you're pagans and because you serve idols and because you sacrifice children. And so repent, otherwise there's going to be a flood. Reject idolatry, paganism, and child sacrifice and accept the yoke of heaven.
That's exactly what I've seen. Please continue.
And so all these demonic forces, we have to categorize them. We have to understand what they are because...
So Roseanne, rabbis, Ben Shapiro, all the same rhetoric as Myron, the Tates, Dan Bilzerian. Jake Shields, also the pro, not going along with the Christian-Muslim opposition to Judaism.
It's going to fall upon...
Look at this. Somebody made a Sneeko. Noahide's Sneeko with the Quran and the well, he's not for the Talmud, but the Quran and the Bible.
To decapitate them.
Let's put it this way: if you're talking about like paganism, Judaism would have a problem with paganism. Judaism would say that does not fulfill the seven.
And if you were in dialogue with somebody like this, would you feel obligated to try to help divest them of that error so that they could be saved?
Sure. I mean, so then I would feel obligated.
Sober Jeff Hardy sent $5 on Rumble. It's so funny. Jews always cry about anti-Semitism, but the Torah is literally ethno-supremacy. They can own slaves, but they can't be owned as slaves for longer than like 7 years. Just one example.
Good point. Thank you, buddy. Uh-oh, we're frozen. Noahide. Did you hear how the Zev Zelenko mentioned the flood? Oh, shoot. I misspelled it. Noahide. All right. I guess we don't want to play here. But I did want to play this edit. If I can find it. Oh, my God. I have so much Noahide law mixes. So much material on this. Oh, there it is. This is the one I wanted to do. Mentioning the flood, he's gonna bring a flood to get away everybody that's not a Noahide.
We're all children of Noah.
Just like the Temple Institute rabbi.
We're all children of Noah, right? We're all B'nai Noah. We all are children of the covenant that Noah made with Hashem. We have the responsibility always to uphold those rules, those 7 rules, those 7 mitzvot of Noah, the covenant of Noah, the covenant that Hashem emblazoned in the rainbow. It's our responsibility. It is our responsibility to destroy those who abrogate that covenant, because that means they are of the generation of the flood. If you're not part of the covenant of Noah, then you are part of the generation of the flood, and you need to be removed from this earth. We all are B'nai Noach, and of course, Israel, the Jewish people, we have an additional covenant that imposes even more do's and don'ts that we also adhere to. But as I said, the covenant of Noah is universal.
Style looks like if you dedicate no adultery. They basically mirror a lot of the there's this basic idea in Genesis that there are commandments that are given prior to the giving of the Torah, right? That there's what we call the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach, the 7 commandments that are given to the sons of Noah, meaning all mankind. And these are things like no murder, no idolatry, no adultery. They basically mirror a lot of the 10 commandments. And so the idea in Judaism is that God, it's almost like a priestly caste. God chose this specific group of people to be a light unto the nations by demonstrating what a godly lifestyle looks like if you dedicate every aspect of your life to God. And then he said to everybody else, I know not everybody else is up to this, and in fact, Judaizers are supposed to try and turn away converts, but you can still get into heaven. The idea that we are trying to force anyone into being Jewish, that's
Anonymous
not a thing.
Sent $5. Big fan Adam. Did you see the recent collab with Gnostic Informant and Brahmin and Spencer? I feel like all the CQ gang has had a growth spurt recently.
I think Gnostic was on with them a while back. It's not the first time he was on there talking Dionysus stuff. I saw that they posted it. I didn't watch it, but I'm not watching much and doing much. All book is what I'm doing, trying to get it finished. So, yeah, there's a whole. I can't wait to start reading new books once my book is done and making way more videos and different content and debates and maybe some more spaces and space debates. So, but yeah, definitely you can see this is what everybody's talking about, the CQ. And we need to, because we got these Abrahamic gatekeepers trying to hold the line and keep their echo chamber, their Abrahamic circle jerk.
So nationalism without the conversion.
You can think about that psychologically as an attempt to both manage the preservation of group identity.
Another Noahide promoter here, hired by Ben Shapiro to promote Noahides.
So that would be cultural identity, which has some utility, and also to be able to coexist with others who are doing things in a different way.
And again, Judaism has had a long history of just like every other religion, of sort of evolution on this stuff. Right, like when you read the book of Joshua, there's actual forced conversion that happens in the book of Joshua. But by the time you get to early Christianity and midpoint Judaism, right, because Judaism is a lot older than Christianity.
Even the gay Jew Dave Rubin was an atheist and then got on the grift and started shilling Judaism and religion again.
Then you're already talking about Jews who are not looking to convert people. They sort of want to live in their own state. They don't want to bother anyone else for the most part. So the idea of like a tidal wave of conquering Jews going out, I mean, even to think about it now is hilarious, right? Nobody thinks about it that way except if you're a conspiratorial nutbag.
Oh, unless you realize that Christianity and Islam are Jewish spinoffs that believe in the prophecies and are almost perfect Noahides, then it's not such a lunatic, what did he call it?
Nobody thinks about it that way except if you're a conspiratorial nutbag.
Conspiratorial nutbag that there's a Noahide law agenda and some the Abrahamic gatekeeping everywhere. Here's Jordan Peterson talking Noahides with a Muslim.
How to be a Jew and a Christian and a Muslim at the same time.
But become Muslim, that's the best way, because the beauty of Islam is you get the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Last Testament. I mean, that really is, for me, even the Jews acknowledge this, because Islam in many ways is a universalized Judaism. It's Judaism for the Gentiles. Very often Christians marvel at how Jews miss Jesus. Muslims also marvel at how Christians and Jews miss Muhammad. Although, to be fair to the Jews, they do acknowledge the Prophet as a providential force, and they do acknowledge him as a Noahidic messenger preparing the way for the coming of the Messiah.
I'm trying to figure out
Noahidic messenger. That's how they see. I forgot to mention another person I should have thrown in there is Candace Owens. Candace Owens keeps people in the religious paradigm as well, leading the opposition. Remember, she was at the opening with Charlie Kirk of the
United States Embassy in Jerusalem, the capital the Jewish people established in ancient times. Congratulations,
Charlie Kirk.
Today we officially
ushering in the temple. Hold on, I'm looking for the clip where she says she can't criticize Judaism. Here it is. Here's your Noahide compliant pro-Jewish God defending the Torah opposition to Jews.
Now, I am a Christian. So for me to make that statement that Judaism is a pedophile-centric religion would mean that I believe the Torah condones pedophilia. And of course, that cannot be the case because I am a Christian. And so those first books in my Bible are relevant. But of course, they knew I didn't say that. The point is that...
See, she's a Christian. Can't expose the Torah. Can't expose the Torah, prophecy, Yahweh, Moshiach agenda. No, they're all advancing that agenda. That's why.
Actually want to, for example, have a civilization that has children. I mean, this is what every statistic shows. Religious adherence.
What do you know? It's the ortho bro argument. Hey, guys, you want to keep having kids? You better believe in Jesus. You better be a Noahide if you want to have morals and have birth rates. Isn't that funny? The same talking point that all the Christians want to argue with me. Birth rates. We need the Bible and Jews because we wouldn't have babies without them. Funny how every argument our detractors have is they're so
if you actually want
so
to, for example, have a civilization that has children. I mean, this is what every statistic shows. Religious adherence and having lots of kids go hand in hand. You are not going to restore natalism in the West without having people go to church. It's just not going to happen. You have to have a national mission. You have to have a godly mission. It's why the only country actually in the West that currently has above replacement rates of population growth is Israel, because it's a country that is largely religious. Even the secular people in Israel have some semblance of religion. And also because they're surrounded by enemies on all sides, and that means that they feel the actual patriotic necessity to have kids. That sort of thing can be restored, but you have to have civilizational pride, and that civilizational pride is rooted in a belief in a higher power that demands something of you.
I just thought of another good clip I could play. Remember Jordan Peterson where he's crying and saying that the Jews are like a shining beacon on the hill? Remember that one? Volker Spirit says, imagine being an E-Crusader having to explain this. They never do. They never address any of this. Just lies, copes, and slanders. All they do. Rabbi Brian Samuel, a Messianic Jew. A lot of those these days, says every knee will bow and every tongue profess that Yeshua the Messiah is Lord. Philippians 2, 10-11. Philippians 2 is the Philippians hymn. All will ultimately bow down to a Jew, Yeshua. All will, Candace Owens will bow to a Jew. Dan Bilzerian will bow to a Jew. Highly recommend you do it on this side of the eternity. You got Messianic Jews just owning, just mogging, mic dropping on these guys, pushing this Jewish agenda of having everybody bow to a Jew. 1.8 thousand likes, by the way. This whole agenda to have everybody bow down to a Jew. That's what this is. That's what this is. And then E. Michael Jones and Christians. Hold on, I just saw you share that. Let's share your version. Cooked EMJ, boost this if you can, from Nemor Amalek. E. Michael Jones says, the church fathers never called Jesus a Jew. Actually, we don't really worship a Jew. The whole idea of Jesus is as the Jewish Messiah is a Jewish concept. The Messiah is a Jewish concept. It was only the Jews that were waiting for a Messiah to come and conquer the Gentiles. Enough of the coping. They all called him Jew. This idiot. Hold on, let's see what Nemor Amalek said. Oh, this is a lot. According to the flesh. Yeah. Owned. Okay, owned. That's a little long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, sorry. I just want to say, I don't want to spend too much time on E. Michael Jones and the latest cope. Another day, another cope about Jesus not being Jewish. If you don't want to worship a Jew, you just can't be a Christian. That's the reality. Anyway, he goes, oh, the church fathers didn't call him a Jew in the sense of what it means today. No, nobody's saying that. Stop trying to create this bar, this semantic bar. He calls them Iudaeus, which he also calls the people that killed Jesus. E. Michael Jones, you want to talk all the time about the Jews and the revolutionary spirit and they killed Jesus. It's the same word, Iudaeus and Iudaean. They use the same exact word for the Jews killing Jesus and Jesus being a Jew. If Jesus isn't a Jew, then the Jews didn't kill Jesus. I'm so sick of these copes in denial day in and day out. We can't even move past these morons coping about them worshiping the King of the Jews. Look, here's the receipts. Not that these Christians have any critical thinking skills and can be honest with themselves. St. Paul in Romans says, "His God is the God of the Jews only. Is he not the God of the Gentiles too? Yes, you worship the Jewish God that came to the Jew first and also the Greek." Jesus came unto his own. The prophecy was that some would come from their own people, from the chosen people. Matthew 2, the beginning, they come and say, "Where is he born King of the Jews?" Why do we have to keep doing this? It's the same Greek word. Stop lying, Christians. Where is he who has been born the King of the Jews? Iudean. So Jesus is called the King of the Jews. And then when it says that the Jews killed Jesus, Iudean, the same word. Stop with your lies, E. Michael Jones. When they say the synagogue of Satan, it's Iudeus. It's just a different syntax, I think is what it's called. Iudean again. Salvation is of the Jews. Jesus is a Jew, and the Jews killed Jesus. All the same word, Iudean. Stop coping. Stop lying. Eusebius of Caesarea says he was a Jew and the son of a Jewish maiden, and all of his first disciples were Jewish. Stop lying, E. Michael Jones. Here. We got to do this. We got to post this in E. Michael Jones's. Stop coping. If Jesus was not a Jew, then the Jews did not. Let's do Jesus. It's the same Greek word. All right. Done. Yehudis. The Judeans. Okay. There's that cope. And speaking of other cope, we got Joel Webden, this clown. Where is it? Getting totally destroyed in the comments every time. He says, "Oh, Christianity's a Jewish psyop." No, fool. Rejecting Christ is the most Jewish thing anyone can do. Which I already tweeted him and tagged him and called him out last week on this and shared the compilation. Completely decimating this stupid meme argument that this guy makes. Rejecting Jesus. No, worshiping the Jewish Messiah and the God of Israel is actually the most Jewish thing anyone can do. Let's see him try to debate this cope. And here's the video.
By virtue of our faith, rejecting Christ is the most Jewish thing you can do. We are receiving a Jewish salvation.
Oh, not wanting Jewish salvation, not bowing down to the King of the Jews and the Jewish Messiah. That's the most Jewish thing you can do, is to not worship the Jewish Messiah. Dude, this is so stupid. A totally unserious person.
Rejecting Christ is the most Jewish thing you can do. We are receiving...
All the first followers of Jesus were Jewish. It's completely Jewish concept. Caring about a Messiah is Jewish. That's like saying us rejecting the Jewish Moshiach. The rabbis want us to bow down to their Moshiach. Rejecting that, they call it, that would be like Jews calling us Jewish because we don't want to be Noahides following their Moshiach. That's the equivalent.
Rejecting Christ is the most Jewish thing you can do. We are receiving a Jewish salvation by virtue of our faith in Christ. Christ is the most Jewish Jew who ever lived. Every Christian believes that the Jews...
So not worshiping the Jewish Jew that ever lived is Jewish? This is so stupid. So stupid. You promote a Noahide Jewish religion.
the most Jewish Jew who ever lived. Every Christian believes that the Jews under the Old Covenant were God's chosen people, from whom he brought about the Messiah.
Which is, of course, the greatest paradox of history. Christianity produced so much anti-Semitism. Not only Christianity, but Christianity actually produced so much anti-Semitism. And yet, who do they respect most?
Okay, we're not going to do the whole mix, but he goes in. We played it the other day on the show.
For the nation. And if you really want to.
And all of our guys destroying him in the comment. I love that. This is the perfect meme. Everyone who doesn't follow my Jewish prophet is Jewish. The Clueless Christian's Guide to Online Discourse. He's literally doing the stupidest meme there is. Jesus was a Jewish rabbi and you're worshiping this myth. Case closed. Even the Christians are always mogging this guy. Like it's like these people just are sadomasochistic and they like the abuse. They like embarrassing themselves. Not worshiping the Jewish Jew is the most thing you can do. Yeah, these Judaism light, these neo-Jews. Like, no, actually, calling yourself the true Israel and wanting to be grafted into the Jewish root and worship the King of the Jews with your circumcised heart. And Paul says you're inwardly Jewish and you want to be the chosen people and the true Israel. That's as Jewish as it gets, actually. Here's Jack Stone's input.
The point that I'm making is this.
Что я хочу вам сказать, это следующее.
Receiving Jesus
Приняв Иешуа
is the most Jewish thing that anybody can do.
Принять Иешуа – это самый еврейский акт, который кто-либо может сделать.
Because he is
Потому что он есть.
The Jewish Messiah.
Он есть еврейский Мессия.
The point that I'm making is
so what was that? False. The most. See, he just keeps repeating this. He's just like a low IQ BLM activist that just repeats stupid mantras over and over again. The most Jewish thing you can do is reject Christ. Christ is king. 2 mantras. Owning with all the quotes from what the Jews say. Here's another one.
Is the most Jewish thing. Believing in Jesus is the most Jewish thing I can do. Believing in Jesus is...
Whatever. Keep it up. Keep making Christians look like retarded copers. Doing real well for yourselves. Meanwhile, you have the same agenda as Rabbi Brian Samuel. You want all the Goy to bow down to the King of the Jews. Look at this. This Jewish guy, the Jewish lumber king, goes, top Jewish contributions to the world that you may not know. Number 1, Christianity. Oh, we know. We're aware. Point taken. I see somebody talking about Epstein in the chat. Has anybody seen? Is there any juicy details? Dresden Dara was in Rebecca's chat talking to them. That's made her ask that. Well, I asked her what she thought of the answer, and she didn't respond. So that says a lot, I think. Even the Abrahamic gatekeepers like Bart Ehrman promote the idea that Jesus definitely existed and you're a fringe conspiracy nut if you say he didn't. And what he existed, and all we know is that he was a Jew that was pro-Jewish and was killed by the evil Romans. That's the narrative they want you to believe. No, a Noahide compliant, definitely real historical Jesus.
I am firmly convinced that Jesus never talked about himself as God. We have the first 3 gods.
Never called himself God, so he's Noahide compliant as well. No idolatry, just a prophet and a claim to be a Messiah. No blasphemy there, Noahide compliant. No idolatry there, Noahide compliant.
I am firmly convinced that Jesus never talked about himself as God. We have the first 3 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Most scholars today continue to think that Matthew and Luke had access to some other written source of information that they call Q. Matthew has some materials not found in Mark or Luke, so they say, well, that came from some other sources, and Luke has some material not found in Mark.
He does this. He makes up all these hypothetical sources that don't exist and don't need to exist. And then that's his great proof for a historical Jesus, one of them.
And Luke, so that's other sources. Okay, so you have Matthew, Mark, and Luke, but you also have Q and M, Matthew special sources, and L, Luke special sources.
Or they're just all making stuff up. You don't know about any sources.
If you look
they
at
didn't claim they were getting
all of that material, Matthew, Mark, Luke, Q, M, and L, all of our earliest sources, where Jesus starts calling himself God is the Gospel of John, our last source. It seems to me completely implausible that 6 authors would describe the sayings of Jesus, knowing that he called himself God, and neglect to mention that part. Like, that bit just isn't important enough to bring up.
Okay, the earliest layers of the New Testament, Paul's letters, Peter, James, Jude, Hebrews, it's talking Jesus as a heavenly figure. Like the Son of Man, the Melchizedek, sitting at the right hand of God on the divine throne, the lesser Yahweh. Paul describes him as like the Logos and the image of God and the creator of the universe and God's wisdom. Okay? He's divine and heavenly in the earliest layers of the New Testament. He goes, he takes the Gospels as if they're real and says Jesus didn't claim to be God in the Gospels. It actually starts high Christology. They still call him the Son.
And so I think it's completely implausible.
Noahide, Jesus, killed by the rabbis. Okay. This is a good one by Genetics Matter. All of everybody trying to silence me with all the different slander and attacks and stupid arguments like, division. Hey, nobody can expose this 2,000-year-old Jewish myth that's got everybody brainwashed. No, that's causing division. Trying to silence me. That's all they're trying to do is shut me up. Meanwhile, where does the division come from? Your own religion. From Jesus. Like in 2 Corinthians, it says, do not be yoked together with unbelievers. Sounds pretty divisive. What fellowship can light have with darkness? And the righteous with the wicked. What does righteousness and wickedness have in common? Sounds like it says you can't team up with people that don't believe in Jesus. Want to cry to me about division? You're not a real Christian if you're not Jesus first, like it says in Matthew. Jesus says, do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. And in Luke, it says, I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have baptism to undergo. Do not think I came to bring peace on earth. No, I tell you, but division. Oh, I think we found the source of the division. From now on, there will be 5 in one family divided against each other. 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. Divided, father against son, against father, mother against daughter, daughter against mother. Everybody divided. All the nations divided. All the denominations divided. And again, this isn't even a real thing. This is quoting scripture. Oh, and then Jesus said, I came to divide. It's literally just quoting scripture. Taking scripture and reading it out of context as if it's a Jesus speaking through the prophets. That's why all the scripture put into Jesus' mouth. All the division, like this new meme from Christians posting Cole. The same playbook. The Jews are like, oh, you Christian, you Messianic Christian Jewish heretics. You corrupted the world. And then Catholicism and Protestantism, heretic. Martin Luther. And then Mormonism, heretic. Everybody calling each other heretics. And there's schisms. And they're infighting over differences in Hebrew scriptures. Division by design. We're pointing out the divisive mythical Jewish force. We're pointing out the Jewish lie, the subversion, the religious theological weapon. And they go, stop being divisive. 99.99% of all the Christians completely kosher, completely Zionist, disavow all these e-crusaders online, but, oh, we can't offend or be divisive. It's not even an argument. Where am I wrong? How about argue where I'm wrong? No, it's just Fed jacketing, lying and calling me Jewish, claiming that I'm trying to stoke infighting just for telling the truth. This is what they try to do. This is their MO time and time again. I tell the truth about their religion. I want to argue these things in good faith, and they respond with lies, dishonesty, low character. That's how it responds, and slander. Average internet Christian anti-Semite. I don't believe anything these Jews say except everything they wrote down in a book 2,000 years ago, and they are defenders of the Torah. All the biggest pro-Israel influencers all shill Jesus. The greatest way that they garner support for Israel is through Christianity and Jesus, because it works. Because the Schofield footnotes just cannot be overcome, apparently. They're too powerful. Both Charlie Kirk and the dissident right opposition both promote Jesus as the solution, as the one and only solution. Charlie Kirk says, tell someone about Jesus this weekend. Lee Strobel, his trash Christian apologist book, The Case for Christ, on Tucker Carlson, promoting demons, talking about, I wonder if Tucker talks about his being scratched by demons in his bed with his 4 dogs story in this one. The Glenn Becks, all the big Zionist networks promote this guy. They're all promoting that guy, that charlatan shilling the Shroud also. And then the opposition, Nick and the Groypers and these other Orthodox guys also say the Shroud is real. Charlie Kirk endorsed, Lee Strobel is a legend. He can change your life. He can make you worship a Jew. Charlie Kirk also, the resurrection of Jesus is a fact of history. It really happened. Trust me, bro. Jesus rose from the dead. Citing guys like Gary Habermas and Lee Strobel and their Christian apologetics nonsense. Let's hear his, that's the long one. Where's the shorter clip? Lee Strobel told Tucker Carlson about Hollywood is under the influence of real demonic realm. Satanic panic. Why do they fearmonger about demons and Satan worship and adrenochrome and all this, the globalist, satanic, Luciferian New World Order? Why is all that fearmongering? To herd everybody towards Jesus, towards the Jewish Messiah, to corral everybody towards Yahweh and his Savior. Problem, reaction, solution. God's adversary, God's boogeyman, God's dialectical controlled opposition. That's what this is.
The biggest problem in our culture is to deny that there is a demonic realm, pretend like there isn't. So what are the hallmarks of it?
White_stag sent $5 on Rumble. Tell people that Jesus is fake and Jewish everyday guys.
Yep, more man on the streets telling them that. It's coming.
The biggest problem in our culture is to deny that there is a demonic realm, pretend like there isn't. So what are the hallmarks of it then? Well, I think some things you mentioned, we see the manifestations of it in ways that defy natural explanations. And I think that's probably the best way of
disorder, distraction, chaos, violence, hate, division. Maybe.
And you think if Satan were smart, which he is,
this is Roseanne Alex Jones tier stuff. Oh, it's the Satanists. Oh, hey, Jews and Christians and Muslims, we shouldn't fight. It's just, there's good people in all the Jewish religions, like Myron says. All the Jewish religion branches are pretty much good. It's the Satanists, it's the Amalekites, it's the anti-Yahwehists that are the real problem.
Would he go around the country and around the world trying to possess or bother average, everyday people? Well, you know what? Much more efficient to go to Hollywood and to influence a bunch of people there who are very influential in, let's say, the entertainment industry. And let's say he encourages them to create films and television shows that are funny and that are creative and that are fun. But there's an underlying message to them that there's a normalization of immoral activity. That makes it normal because, when we laugh, it opens us up to various possibilities. When we laugh, our defenses come down. So I'm thinking of a wonderful, funny TV show like Friends. Remember Friends, the TV show was on TV for years. Very popular show.
Only American who never saw it, but yeah.
But underlying that is a very ugly sexual ethic. That normalizes multiple sexual partners and that sort of thing. The kind of thing that Satan would love to inculcate into American culture. And you know what? I think it's much more efficient for Satan to influence movie makers and TV makers in Hollywood to create products that feed us stuff that, without us even realizing it, open us up to the occult, open us up to immoral activity, normalize it in ways that, well, if Monica could do that on Friends.
Yeah, humor, satanic. Sex, satanic. Violence, satanic. Just like depicting things in the real world. Cinema is just satanic. Yeah, everything that's not like B Christian movie slop is satanic.
I can certainly have sex on the first date with this guy I meet.
So the way I, as a non-theological, ignorant person...
Yeah, that's just what
The
happens.
idiot sent $5. I will catch up after giving my dues when I catch a live stream. Thanks for what you do, AG. Me and my family were strong Christians. You have opened my eyes. Not a small hat.
Cool. Your whole family woke up. Beautiful to hear. I'm glad you guys are free from this fear-mongering, coercion and manipulation.
Try and figure out whether something's good or bad, because it is an open question very often.
Yeah. Right, White Stag. It's not Jews, it's not Judaism and Yahweh and Moshiach blueprint for world domination. No, it's Satanism. All these guys fighting in the name of fighting the globalist Satanist are actually ushering in the King of the Jews world order and Noahide
Caden 13 sent $5 on Rumble. Why is it that Christians are the only ones who get possessed by demons? Shouldn't Jesus make them immune?
Good point. You'd think so, right?
Is that good or bad? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Are the people doing it at peace and joyful, happy?
Yeah.
Or are they tormented?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people in Hollywood, a lot of people I like, actually. Not too many happy people.
Yeah.
Some really tormented people.
It's true.
For real.
Yeah.
String of wrecked relationships, kids who hate them, trans kids.
Oh my God. So Hollywood people have some messed up lives just like regular people. Oh, they're so satanic. I guess everybody's just satanic then.
Drug problems. Like there's so much of that.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a fair way to assess?
I think because it is logical that if Satan were to try to influence a culture in a mass way, that is a logical way that he would do it. And, oh, guess what? By the way, look at all the dysfunction we see in that community. It does seem to match up.
So if evil is acting through you, you are harmed too.
Generally, I would say yes. You're going to be someone who's trying to influence others. You may not realize the full reason why.
But it destroys you.
Yeah, it does destroy you.
It certainly seems to.
Yeah, I think so. Who would, God created us so we could have a relationship with him. So he taught us how we can live in a way that maximizes who we are. And when we stray from that in egregious ways, as many people have.
Teaches you how to be on your knees, worshiping his Messiah.
Do.
So great.
There are implications for us.
Anonymous sent $5. I love how the big boogeyman, Satan, just means accuser, not evil or malice. To accuse just means to charge someone with an offense or crime.
Mm-hmm. And temps also.
The names sent $5 on Rumble. Speaking of Christian B movies, have you watched God's Not Dead? It's incredibly cringe. It'd be entertaining if you reacted to clips of it.
I think so, yeah. We should watch that. God's Not Dead. I think I've seen it before. I've seen my fair share of Christian B movies. Okay, let's go this. We got from shared in the chat, honest Christian, Noahide. Let's see how Noahide this is.
Any context, it's difficult to know what they even mean. So Christians will point to verses like when Jesus says in John chapter 10, he says, the Father and I are one. And when his disciple Philip asks him, when do we get to see the Father? He says to Philip, anyone who's seen me has seen the Father. And Christians point to that and they say, see, he's claiming to be God. But you just got to keep reading. He says to Philip, anyone has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? Don't you know that the Father is in me and I'm in the Father? Interesting. Skip to John chapter 17, where Jesus is praying for his disciples and then for all of his Christian believers. And he prays, he's praying to the Father, and he says, I hope that they will all one day be in us,
shared this.
just as I'm in you and you are in me. I hope that they will be in us and we'll all sort of be one together.
Him a Christian?
I hope.
Not a Christian.
Yeah, like he prays, like that. Yeah, like he's sort of praying for that to happen in the future, right? So whatever relationship Jesus has with the Father there, and being in him and him in him, it's something that he at least wants the disciples to one day achieve. So if that's Jesus claiming to be identical to Yahweh, the God Yahweh, then he must think that that's something that's available to the rest of us. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So we've got to reinterpret that verse. Okay. Like there are this is in John's gospel as well, like, and the interesting thing is that most of these important Christological claims only appear in John's gospel.
And John's is the latest.
John's is the latest,
which you said has potential.
Yeah, so there's already reason to think it's less historically reliable because it's later, but also the fact that
I'm annoyed that they think this guy's a Christian. He's like famously anti-Christian or exposing Christianity.
Corn Pop sent $5. Maybe Carlson's wife comes in the middle of the night and scratches him as revenge for Tucker kicking her out of bed for 4 dogs. Just a thought.
I think it's more likely that it's the dogs. Yeah, it's an atheist, and this Muslim's claiming he's an honest Christian. Fail.
Jesus is making these claims in front of all of his disciples, and if in John's gospel he makes explicit claims to be God, like in John chapter 8.
Is this Noahide? Why did you share this? Is this Noahide? I'm losing my mind that this clip is not talking about anything.
He says to his Jewish opponents, before Abraham was, I am. And I am is supposed to be like a callback to the name of God in the Old Testament.
Sorry, can't do it anymore. Apologize. We got better clips. Like, for instance, the B'nai B'rith, the Jewish parent company to the ADL, honors the Pope for standing against paganism and racialism. A bulwark of protection against subversives and sinister forces variously called fascism. So the Jews are honoring the Pope for his fearless advocacy of right against might, the struggle to stem the tide of paganism and the growth of race idolatry made him beloved by millions of all faiths who share his love and respect for human dignity. All lodges of B'nai B'rith in the United States and Canada are honoring the Pope for opposing racialism and paganism. Most extreme Rabbi Mizrachi says Christianity is better than paganism.
Christianity is not the worst form of idol worshipping. The worst idol worshipping is when a person bows down to the stars, to the sun, to the moon.
The Muslims probably clipped it out of context. I think so. That's what they were doing. Good point.
To a tree, to an animal, to the water, to anything, any object. Oh, that's a pure idol worshiping. The Christians, they believe in the God, in the creator of the world. They don't say there's no God. They definitely understand.
Why does Myron have the same take on Abrahamism that Rabbi does? Anybody see the problem in that?
There is a God, the God of the Torah, the God of Israel. He built the world, he made the world, he runs the world. The idol worshipping of the Christians is not as bad as the idol worshipping of Nepal or India and other places. Because they still believe in our God, but they believe in somebody else. The Christians and the Muslim came and they say, we are not challenging Judaism. We are the witnesses to prove that God gave the Torah to the Jews. They call it the Old Testament. Same thing the Muslim, they believe in the Torah. Half of the Quran is from the Torah. Ibrahim, Sarah, all the stories from the Torah appears in the Quran. They never tried to say God never gave the Torah to the Jews. The opposite. In the Quran, in many, many places, it describes Mount Sinai, how the Jews got the Torah from God, how he took us out of Egypt, how Pharaoh was a wicked king. There's a lot of things that is copied from the Torah. So they adopted the Torah as a divine book. It's everyone serving. How can I not be happy when I see millions of goyim bow down to one Jew tonight? What's better? A secular United States or a Christian United States? So now we have between idol worshippers that follow Christianity or total atheists. What's better? Rabbi Victor Miller, by him everything was clear. So absolutely, we should hope that there will be a very strong Christian state. Why? An atheist, everything by them is against God. They don't do one thing he likes. Everything they believe in is against Hashem. Christians, 80% of what they believe, it's not against Hashem. So yes, they make a critical mistake when they believe in a fake Messiah. They worship him, they say he's God, son of God. All kinds of different beliefs, which is a big problem. But that's their problem, not ours.
Okay, another L for the Shroud believers. Big discovery reveals that we've been debunking the Shroud for 650 years, since right when it was created, basically. So, what is this? Let's show you. From Newsweek, published a few days ago. This is a big deal. A newly discovered medieval document has revealed that the authenticity of the Shroud was being called into question as early as 1355, perhaps as early as 1355. The text analyzed by the Journal of Medieval History has been dated between 1355 and 1382. It reveals that respected Norman theologian Nicole Oresme, who would become the Bishop of Lisieux, France, dismissed the Shroud as a quote, clear and patent fake, the result of deceptions by clergymen. His writing, now considered the oldest writing rejection of the relic, predate the previous early documented criticism by the Bishop of Troyes in 1389. The bishop also rejected the Shroud as a fraud and reported that the predecessor of his had done likewise in around 1355. Found by a renowned historian. So now we have an even earlier record of another Christian bishop saying that the Shroud is a fake. Okay, I tweet this, and then this Orthodox guy comes in, definitely shares his tweet right away in one of their OrthoBro group chats and says, all studies, quote unquote, debunking it are run by Jews. Thank you, damn Bigfoot. He says, where do you think we'd be if Romans never adopted Christianity? Space colonies, terraforming Mars? Oh, we'd be in a whole lot better place. It's hard to really know for sure, but I think it would have been a whole lot better. Okay, so I share an article that talks about a bishop, another bishop, Christian, saying that it's a fake. Right around the same time that it was carbon dated to. And this Orthodox guy doesn't even read the article, just comes in, knee-jerk reaction, says all studies, quote-unquote, debunking it are run by Jews, and there's currently an active $1 million bet to recreate the Shroud. If it is fake, recreate it. Yeah, I'm sure your Christian apologist that has whatever offer is not going to pay out $1 million because it already has been recreated. And I'm going to show you that in a second here. He didn't even read it. He just knee-jerk dismissed this as a Jewish study when it's actually a Christian saying it's a Jewish forgery. The cope is unreal. And your whole argument, no proof, by the way, for this, that all of the studies, all the universities that radiocarbon dated it to 12 to 1300s, they're all Jews. It's all a Jewish conspiracy. Meanwhile, all the Jews everywhere are promoting Jesus. All the hardcore Zionist platforms are all promoting Jesus. Meanwhile, if you want to say, it's Jews that are trying to debunk it, in reality, the top proponent of the Shroud's authenticity is a guy named Barry Schwartz, an Orthodox Jew, who has the TED Talk, The Shroud and the Jew. Top proponent. Orthodox Jew spends much of his time educating Christians that the shroud may be a real artifact of Jesus. Since 1978, one of the top proponents of the shroud. Do you see how ridiculous? It's just like lies, inversion of reality, and cope. Good video, the shroud fraud, how the Shroud of Turin deceived. I kind of want to watch that. Just recently, there was a 3D analysis revealing that the Shroud of Turin likely came from a sculpture, not Jesus' body. 3D imaging, we covered in the last stream. If something was cloaked over him, it would not look like how it looks. They did it with a low relief. Oh, what is this? Click to accept marketing cookies and enable this content. Let's see this real quick.
When you wrap a 3D object with a fabric and that object leaves a pattern, like blood stains, these stains...
This is the Brazilian guy. I did look up the name, though, the last name, and it could be Sephardic, actually, so I'm not going to say this guy might not be Jewish. I doubt he's raised Jewish or identifies as Jewish, but I'm just going to throw it out there, a possibility. But so what? Even if he were 100% Jewish and had the biggest nose of all time, can you refute this argument and this evidence and this actual science?
Robust and more deformed. When you wrap a 3D object with a fabric and that object leaves a pattern, like blood stains, these stains generate a more robust and more deformed structure in relation to the source. So, roughly speaking, what we see is a result of a printing stance from a human body would be more swollen and distorted version.
See, it wasn't a real... This is so good. Not a real human... Get this out of the way. Not a real human body, but a low relief, which we're going to show you the Smithsonian did a recreation of it with the low relief. If fabric was really wrapped around a face, it would look more something like this.
Version of it, not an image that looks like a photocopy. A bas-relief, however, wouldn't cause the image to deform.
Orthodox Luigi is just like, no, wrong.
Jew, guilty, like, you're Jew, doesn't matter.
Nope, no argument. I'm just going to call everybody that doesn't believe in the shroud a Jew. Everybody that doesn't bow down to Jesus is a Jew. You guys are so tiresome, so unserious.
In a figure that resembles a photocopy of the body. Any careful adult can test it at home, for example, by painting your face with some pigment liquid using a large napkin or...
That's him. This is who he's saying is a Jew. No, it's a Jew trying to debunk it. That's not real.
Paper towel or even fabric and wrapping
it's just a satanic Jew that doesn't want me to worship the king of the Jews. Be a Noahide.
Around your face. Then take the fabric out, spread it on a flat surface, and see the resulting image. This deformation as known...
They'll just be like, well, Jesus is magic. Everything's shot directly straight up, just like a painting. Like, come on, bro.
As the mask of Agamemnon effect, as it resembled that ancient artifact.
Okay. And let's see. Shoot, where's my other video of it? Another L for the Shroud believers. Hold on, maybe I'll find my quote tweet here. No, I quote tweeted him. Let's see this. Oh, Barry Schwartz. Oh, we kind of went through this already. Everybody talking about Barry Schwartz, the cope. Why don't you apply that same logic to Barry Schwartz, the Jew that's the top proponent of this? Or Glenn Beck or Tucker Carlson, all these kosher guys promoting the shroud everywhere. Okay, I got to do this. Quote tweet. I quote tweeted him. I said, that's patently false. The top proponent is Jewish, though, and it has been recreated. Double L. Let's watch the recreated video again. These guys asked for it. Hold on. All right, we got ads. Let's see. 20 minutes left, nowhere near hitting the goal yet. You guys are awful quiet today. Nobody has anything to say, huh?
Through the generations, many have tried to decode the Turin Shroud secrets. The image it carries is clear.
All you got to do is how to fake the Shroud of Turin. Do Shroud of Turin, how to make Shroud of Turin. You can find it. These guys do no research.
The Shroud.
Yeah, combine Spec Ops, combine laziness with childhood brainwashing, and this is what you get. All the studies to debunk it are done by Jews. Right?
Rumble. Paleo-Judaicans.
Did you hear that? The name? Luigi? Wait a second. If Luigi is a Jew debunking it, then what does that make you? Luigi? Orthodox, sinner, and Russian propagandists? Russian propagandists. So true. These ortho-bro Russian agents. How about that, guys? The guy that does his debunking has the same name, Luigi, and Luigi isn't his real name. It's a white guy.
Carlos Kelly. And after years of trying, he thinks
everybody's Jewish besides Jesus.
On Education Day. P.S. I've seen people pre-publish books piece by piece on Gumroad, and then do normal publication after collecting feedback/money.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I'll try that next time. I think I'm just going to do maybe a little bit of pre-sale. I'll have like a 2-week pre-sale, and then it'll be up on Amazon and a few other publishers pretty soon.
Which marks what we see now.
Jack,
thank you.
Sent $10. My bad on that. The Islamic video I thought was Noahide Christian propaganda. Here's to your goal.
Well, thank you for apologizing for that video. I didn't finish the whole thing. I'm not sure. The player doesn't work very well. Guys, for the first time ever, recreated the true image of Jesus. Oh, this is what he actually looked like. He's not Jewish, though. So blasphemous. Oh, nobody could ever recreate it. It's way too complex. They did the new study that was total bunk, too, recently, that was using an X-ray scattering device to see the deterioration of the threads, which is complete bollocks. Complete nonsense. Way too many variations, like how the thread was produced, how it was stored. There's so many variables. And they timed it out so it's exactly at 2,000 years. This is not at all a proven method of dating fabrics. So cope. Hold on, I wanted to play something else too. Where was the article? This. I want to play a little bit of this one. I haven't seen
Spacey.
Russian shills coping in the chat. Never mentioned that Zelensky's confirmed Jew. Yeah, everybody knows Zelensky's Jewish. Okay, that's not a secret. Yeah, the Russian Orthodox Church. I've shown the clips why I'm against Russian Orthodox Church. Number one, because it's Christian-controlled opposition. Number two, it's used for Russia propaganda and spy networks. Number three, it's anti-Western and is parroting the talking points of rabbis that America is evil and satanic and needs to be destroyed with God's vengeance. All right, let's see here. I want to see a little bit of this guy doing the study.
And then come forward a number of image formation theories. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this, but just to give you the basics of Christ, because they are really dark. So they read as being... Also, each fiber that has been affected is only stained on the outside. If you break a fiber, it's white inside and discolored on the outside. Again, suggesting...
So if the Christians are right and he really burst out with a light of a million gigameters of electromagnetic, whatever the guy was saying on Tucker Carlson, whatever goy slop he was pushing, it would go all the way through the fibers. It's only on like the top layer of the fibers.
That whatever caused this came from outside. If you look at the image and you put it through a computer enhancement program, you can three-dimensionalize the image. You cannot do that with a normal photograph. If you take a photograph, a snapshot, and you put it through a computer, it's not going to work, because normally in a photograph, you only have one light source from one angle. Okay? For some reason, the shroud image out of the foot in a zigzag motion, and there are lots of these zigzags all over the place. Zigzags on the arm, a zigzag out of the wound in the wrist,
Painting it, huh?
and zigzags
Painting on the blood.
On the blood.
They're like, it's got real postmortem blood and other blood. Like, you could get blood. It's not impossible for somebody to get some blood. They were bloodletting probably at this time. They could poke their finger, drip out some blood, and pour it on there. Come on.
Across the back.
Not impressed.
That tells you very clearly this was made by a human being using some form of paintbrush. And yes, it might be blood. Blood's quite easy to get hold of. I don't doubt for a moment that that's real blood.
Exactly.
But whether it's pig blood or cow blood or chicken blood or human blood, we know it's hemoglobin.
Oh, we don't even know if it's
hemoglobin,
human
as
blood.
it is now. And they possibly put, thanks to Walter McCrone's work, which was highly objective, he suspects that there may be red ochre in the blood, and I think he's right, because if you leave blood for a few centuries, it normally...
Right, Dan Bigfoot. We'll read that one. Let's see, where was that? Dan Bigfoot says, Christians throughout centuries have claimed they have parts of the true cross, nails, crown of thorns, Last Supper cup. Wonder what the next physical hoax they will claim. Totally true. Good point.
JD Vance sent $50. What is your opinion on shows like the opening ceremony of the Olympics in France or the opening ceremony of the Gotthard Tunnel in Switzerland, which look satanic? Why are they doing this?
Christians just call anything satanic. That's what it is. Let's see. What did you say here? What were those specific things? Yo, damn Bigfoot, thank you so much for the big dono, man. It means a lot.
Thank you.
Mrs. No More News is not going to be happy.
Yes!
I'll tell her
That's
big damn
awesome.
Bigfoot.
Thanks, man.
True. Where is that? What exactly did you say? Opening ceremony of Olympics in France. It's just edgy artist, trying to be controversial, trying to trigger, using motifs and themes and stuff that's like in our culture. The thing in France was a mimicry of a pagan festival also. The Gotthard Tunnel in Switzerland. Opening ceremony of the Gotthard Tunnel in Switzerland. I'd never heard about that. Let's see. Can I see anything about that? Abstract performance. Yeah, it's just like artsy shit. Like even, what's her name? Abramovich. Everybody goes, she's a Satanist. Abramovich. Artist, not Satanist. Oh, of course she'll deny it, right? Abramovich says, I'm an artist, not a Satanist. Artists do weird, shocking shit. It gets attention. It gets all the Christians it creates a buzz from Christians that are doing satanic panic. Thank
Dominic
you,
sent $10. Praise God. I found some shekels for the Goy Shiach.
Thank you, buddy.
Normally doesn't retain its nice red coloring. The fact that this methemoglobin, dried methemoglobin blood, still has quite a strong red tinge.
Hypori is a highly secure virtual mobile operating system, accessible from any edge device anywhere. What it means is we're essentially
to it suggests strongly that there's red ochre mixed with it. Now, obviously, blood already contains iron, so it's just basically a matter of enhancing the iron content with a little bit of red ochre, and the result is blood that stays more or less red. Very simple. Okay, I'm going to come back to the blood because there's another issue about the blood, which is very rarely mentioned, and that is that the blood has a halo effect. You will notice that in a lot of the places where there's blood, there's like a pale glowing area around the blood, which has given rise to the belief that the blood came first and the image afterwards. And as I will show you, that is completely wrong. Okay, clues to a solution.
Okay, here we go.
The shroud image behaves like a photographic negative. Okay?
You talk so slow.
You cannot make a photographic negative by painting, and you can't make it by magic. And I'm ruling out miracles here because I don't believe in them. Photographs are caused by photographic-related technologies. Okay, photographic-related technologies. That means you can only make a photographic image if you have some chemical that is affected by light and changes its characteristics such that it may, and then be fixed, that it may then record what was projected onto it.
Give me the blood, Lord. I thought the same
mirrors,
thing.
Whatever, but I'm not here at this point saying what. But it has to be done with a photographic-related technology. There's no other way to make a photograph except by using photography of some kind. And photography is a very loose term here. It includes any means of capturing light. Okay.
Fascist New World Order says she posed with Rothschild in front of a painting called Satan Summons and His Minions. How many paintings have Christians made? It was probably a Christian that made the painting. Satanic, demonic paintings.
Okay. The official date for the invention of photography is 1799. The people who made the first photographs.
How many other photographs do you think paintings she's been in photographs before?
Used silver nitrate. This back in the 1720s. And they used to hide the image in a dark room, and you could only look at them with a candle. And if you took the image out into the sunlight, it went brown because they didn't know how to fix. So fixing a photograph was a major step, and I speak under correction, but I think it was the 1820s when the first fixed photograph was produced. So if you know all this, and you know that the shroud is exhibiting photographic qualities, then the question for me is obvious. What photographic-related techniques or technologies were present in 1250 to 1350, which are the dates that I believe
so how
the
do
shroud
they
was
make
made
it
in?
as
And I
a
do that
negative?
based on the artistic evidence.
With a negative relief sculpture?
Because artistically,
Cook
the
sent
shroud...
$5. Hello, actual Satanist here. I just wanted to say that the Christians were right. D&D, video games, action movies, rock and roll, heavy metal, it's all satanic. Everything fun and meaningful is satanic.
Yeah, everything that's not Jew worship, being a slave to Zion, is satanic, right?
Has to have been made after 1250.
And the other things, like if Abramovich was really a Satanist, like she would probably say she was. There'd probably be like better evidence than she took a picture, like she took a picture in front of a painting one time.
Because it is part of the age of humanism, as I tried to explain so carefully. It's part of Louis IX's way of the cross. It is part of a post-Crusader period. It is an attempt to make a relic and an icon in one object. It is both Latin West and Greek-speaking East combined in one artifact. It's a very clever product. It could only have come from this time period. We know for a fact that it was around in 1351. It may have been around earlier, but it's doubtful it was around before 1250, because if it was, then the person who made it must have been a prophet who could see the future. And I don't believe in prophets, and I don't believe that people can see the future. So the problem is it possible for anybody to have made this in the Middle Ages? And of course, most people would just say no and walk away. But I realized that there's lots of evidence for something related to photography at this period. The camera obscura, for example, pinhole images, lenses, light-sensitive chemicals, and image-fixing techniques. The last two are the problem here. You may remember this little maxim: when you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Mr. Spock, okay? Okay, I hope you're having a laugh now. Now let's go on to Holmes' maxim. It's an old maxim of mine that when you have excluded the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable...
I tried watching the beginning of this and couldn't get through it, and they said he gets to the actual meat of it at the last two-thirds, but I'm going to lose
must be the truth.
Patience.
That's where Spock got it from. Okay, so if you go back in time, roughly 10th century, we have people of the caliber of Al-Hatham, who wrote text explaining how you could make an image inside a camera with a pinhole. And what he did was he put a candle outside a box, and then inside the box he observed that the candle was visible upside down. And below is a color picture showing you that principle. Al-Hatham was a very clever man. He also worked out that light travels in straight lines. He's the first person to do that. This is centuries before Newton. Before this time, everybody thought that light mingled. Al-Hatham put 3 candles in a row and then snuffed out the lights one by one to see what happened inside the camera. And he noticed that the opposite light went out every time he snuffed a candle out, proving that light travels in perfectly straight lines. He went further than this. He also worked out how binocular vision worked. He worked out why the moon appears large on the horizon. And he also worked out how rainbows were formed.
Wow.
Now, following Alatham's example, if you have an object illuminated by light on the left, standing next to an aperture or a hole, say in the wall of a large room, inside the room, you will get an inverted image of what was outside the room.
Where is he going with
But it will be made up of a series of holes, basically, so you have a blurred image. Okay, so we talk about the object conjugate distance and the image conjugate distance. This is a self-working phenomenon. You don't need any fancy tools to do this. If you put a lens in that hole and focus the light, then the image on the right becomes focused and is as sharp as the original object that was standing outside. Alatham worked this out in the 10th and 11th centuries. Using the sun as an example, he used a triangular aperture and proved that the image of the sun that passes through the aperture is made up of a series of triangles, and hence it was blurred. So the only way we can do this is have lenses. And lenses go way back.
I've heard that the lens in our eye actually views the world upside down and our brain reverses it. You guys heard that before?
They found lenses in Troy. They found lenses in Mycenae. I have a mold of a lens that was found in Iraq in
Project _ Aldi sent $10. Notice how these rabbis always say that pagans worshipped planets, stars, and trees? This is pure belittlement and slander meant to discredit and mock our native beliefs. It's so enraging to hear them spread this lie with a bold face.
Yeah. They hate evolution. They hate science. They want ancient Jewish superstition and subservient sheep.
Came from a telescope. I have molds of lenses that were found in Tanis, dated to 150 CE. Both lenses are plano-convex, and if you put them together, you can actually project an image with them.
Oh my God.
They also
Where
found,
is he going with this?
That's 300 years before the Shroud was made.
Lenses. Okay, he's proving that lenses
We
existed.
have no written evidence that anybody knew why silver nitrate or
Light-sensitive
silver
chemicals and lenses.
cloth, and you have an accurate image.
Okay,
So the
here we go.
hypothesis sulfate with
This is
changing
another
color.
way of making
We
it,
have to
maybe.
wait for Boyd much, much later to explain that this is by light.
This guy is
In
a
these early
bore
days,
fest.
they probably thought it was weather or moisture. The Chinese were way ahead of the Europeans. They were making motion pictures as early as 180 CE. Here we have a zoetrope, which is basically a circle with figures on. Normally, in this case, it would have been dancing ponies or dragons. And then the light inside is looked at through a slit by the eye, and you can see the illusion of somebody running or walking. And it was exactly this that gave me the clue as to how the Shroud was made. When I realized what the findings were from Stirp, and with my knowledge of medieval technology and optics, which is something that I study, I realized that the only way you're going to make an image of a man on a flat piece of cloth is to project the image with light. And that is actually photography. So here we have, on the left, we have a piece of cloth wrapped around the head, and you can see you make a blurry image, and on the right, you project the image onto the cloth, and you have an accurate image. So the hypothesis at this stage was that they took a man, suspended him in the sun, opposite a window, with a lens in it, which had been boarded up. The light that reflected off of his body went through the lens onto a piece of cloth that had been soaked previously in a silver salt. And the result is that you get an inverted image. In the early 80s, I started my experiments, and with the help of an optometric expert at CSIR, I eventually realized that the only way I could make this image was by using crystal. I tried glass and it didn't work. And then one day I got hold of a lens made out of optical quartz. And in my early experiment, I put up this white plaster bust of a friend of mine by the name of Glenn Mayer. He's actually a very well-known photographer here in Port Elizabeth. And the camera was focused on this head. So the morning light would come up and shine on it, and then the light would pass over the head. At noon, the light would be fully in his face, and in the afternoon, the light would move to the other side of his face. I did this for 3 days. So the actual image inside, the player who took a photograph of my next step, this is about 1992, we have a plaster Paris corpse, and we hung it up And by now I had a whole lot of silver quartz lenses made for the various purposes. The one on the right is the one I used for a full-length figure. That has a focal length of something like 4 meters, which means that the figure has to be 4 meters from the lens. And there you can see clearly the figure hanging up. And on the corner of the camera obscura is the lens. Inside the camera...
Oh my God. Only a little bit more, guys. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Okay. The camera has a lens.
Getting to the best
there's
part.
a corpse and there's sunlight. That's what you need. If you go inside the camera, you can see the lens on the right in the corner. And there is the shroud stretched onto a frame. My safe lights are just candles, because candles can't affect the silver assault. So you need a shroud. Made out of, it can be made out of linen or cotton or a mixture, doesn't matter. Any ester will do, even paper will work. You need an easel of some kind to stretch it, and you need safe lights so that you can work in the dark. And that is what you see inside the camera, okay? So whatever's outside the camera, inside is upside down and focused. Right, so there we pretend we're inside the camera and we're looking at my screen. We're standing basically next to the lens, looking into the camera at the image upside down on a piece of cloth that's been impregnated with silver sulfate. And on the right, that's what you get after 3 days.
Wow.
Then you turn the cloth around, you turn the figure around, hanging up, and you now expose the next section. So there's the corpse turned around, and inside the camera, there's the corpse upside down, 8 meters away, focused on the cloth. And that's what you get after 1 day, 2 days, and
wow,
that's the front image, and that's it compared to the Shroud of Chambéry. I've taken away the train tracks.
Wow, that's
so
how
that
you
can
get
have a
the
better comparison,
negative
because obviously my shroud hasn't been in a
Look at
fire.
that.
So the only difference between these two images really is the fact that my shroud doesn't have blood on it. The image is what I'm interested in here at this stage. There are differences, of course. The one problem is I don't have the original corpse. The second problem is my lens is probably much better than what they had in the Middle Ages. There are distortions on the cloth, on the image on the cloth. The head is 10% too small for the body. I wonder how many of you have noticed that the head is too small. The front version of the shroud image is different in length to the back version of the image, which means that these exposures were done at different times.
Wow.
It might not even be the same body for the back and front. It might be that they used a real corpse and it started to disintegrate, it started to decay, and after 3 days they threw it away and used a fresh body. Anything is possible here. They may have mummified the body. They may have made a mold of the body. But given that corpses were pretty plentiful at that time, I'm quite sure that mummifying it would have probably been the easiest. I suspect very strongly that the head was made with a separate exposure, with a different lens, and then after they had captured the head, they then did the body without a head, and then the two were basically fit together like that. That would have taken about 6 days to achieve that image. So you compare the two images, and just as a matter of detail, I put a cut on the chest of my figure to see if it would come out in the reversed polarity, and you can clearly see the cut under the nipple. That's how accurate it is.
Wow.
And this is another cloth that I made in 1993. Unfortunately, it no longer exists.
The Abrahamic sent $5 on Rumble. This guy solved it. And he's not boosted anywhere. Absolute Chad scientist, artist, historian.
Wait, we forgot to do an early life check on Nicholas Peter Allen. Sounds Jewish.
This is just a satanic Jew trying to stop me from bowing down to Yeshua, Rabbi Yeshua.
That's the cope this Christians will have. Any counter argument? Well, he's probably just a satanic Jew. Great argument, bro.
This was the Shroud of Port Elizabeth, a beautiful, beautiful shroud, which unfortunately no longer with us. The front body beautifully made and then joined at the head with the reverse. This is now in the state before fixing. What you're looking at here is mostly the silver atoms that are giving that discoloration. If this had been fixed, the image would be much paler and not visible unless you move about 2 meters away from it. These are some examples of the models that I use in my experiments. I use flesh-colored and white-colored models to play around with what happens inside the camera, different lenses to see what effects I can get. One of the things I am trying to do at the moment is to raticionate the exact dimensions of the lens that was used back in roughly 1350. To do that is going to be quite a mission, because I have to work out the spherical aberrations on the lens, the figure on the shroud.
Okay.
And
test image. Come on, what is this? Now it wants me to do a survey. Come on.
That's what it looks like in black and white. And that's what it looks like compared to the shroud image.
Dude, it's done.
There are a lot of
$1 million. Give this guy $1 million. Oh, the Christian will be like, no, it's not exactly, you didn't do this. Like, why not? Give him $1 million, right? Somebody needs to submit this. Nicholas, you should submit this to this $1 million challenge that these Christians are so impressed by. And collect your reward.
And there are obviously differences. The differences are explained, A, by the fact that my lens is perfect. B, the similarities are really interesting. You'll notice that I've got lines wiggling all over my image. Those are lines caused by no image appearing, because the cloth that I used had to be heated up and washed in a washing machine to remove starch. When people make material, they put starch into it, and starch resists the silver salt. Because the starch was not washed out properly, it has not allowed the...
Shekels for a good goy sent $5. Grandpa did photography including superimposing in the 30s and 40s, but didn't have indoor plumbing until the 70s.
Yep.
Nobody can recreate it. Nobody's impossible. Even modern science can't do it. I saw some Christian grifter say it on YouTube.
That's what these guys do.
Particular places to reduce. And when the thing was dipped in ammonia, you simply end up with a blank piece of cloth. Okay? Now, similarly, you'll notice 2 black lines on either side of the head. That is a self-working phenomenon. That is because the sides of the head are always in shadow. So very little silver reduces in those areas. Interestingly enough, the Shroud image has exactly the same issue, which strongly suggests this is how they did it.
The lines?
I don't know how anybody can doubt it.
From the side?
And it's been emphasized by the fact that the woof threads. Now, the material is made on woofed.
So they haven't only been able to recreate it in one way, but in this way too. And I think this way is actually much closer. This is very compelling. The sides of the face not reflecting as much to mess with the salts that they put on there. That's very telling, right?
Woof and woof threads. The woofed is put in first. They are strongly starched, okay, to make them stronger. And then the weft is put in sideways from left to right. I suspect that when they put the silver salt onto the shroud cloth before they exposed it, they hadn't got all the starch out of the woofed, and that is why the image is not so pronounced on either side of the face. It is quite obvious. You can see it. It's almost like a ruler. Straight line, and it goes throughout the whole cloth. If you look at a photograph of the entire Shroud of Turin, that line runs through the entire image, proving what I'm saying. One of the criticisms I get from people is, you cannot be right because you haven't made exactly the same as the Shroud of Turin. And I say to them,
a lot of sense. Okay, you're like, oh, he may be debunking, but he's anti-white. Dude, who cares? Nothing this guy says about anything has anything to do with it. It's like, do we not know how to address arguments?
You're not looking at this correctly. I'm trying to find a valid explanation for how somebody may have made it in the Middle Ages with the technology that I had. I'm trying to be objective here. People have accused me of being fanciful, that they're saying I'm trying to prove that they had fountain pens in the Middle Ages and all sorts of other nonsense. That is not what I'm doing. And to try to illustrate my problem, let us imagine that there was only one painting in the world, and it was the Mona Lisa. And here it is, the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. And people didn't know about painting. And let's say that to try to prove a technique, somebody painted the Laughing Cavalier to prove that it's possible to make an image using paint. Then the cynics will say, oh, well, it's not the same because the Mona Lisa doesn't have a moustache. And that is basically the problem that I have at the moment. So let me end there. Was that okay? Could you understand what was going on? Yeah.
I do, and very convincing.
Well, I mean, I just don't see any other way of doing it. I mean, I've all sort of mirrors, but it's much simpler to use a lens. Why use a mirror when you use a lens?
Hello, viewers. I just realized that's the guy that also... He wrote the book, The Jesus Fallacy, the greatest lie ever told. I watched a little bit of one of his things. So he's allowed to say it's a lie. Jesus is a lie, but I'm not. I'm evil and bad if I say it's a mythical lie created by Jews. Is that the way things are? Anyway, let's go out today. Didn't meet the goal, unfortunately. Womp womp. But you guys still did have a lot of good support. I appreciate you all so much. Especially for that big 50 that, who was that? JD Vance. JD Vance coming up big again. We're going to go out with another epic John Garatis mix. Tomorrow's Thursday. I may take tomorrow off, actually. We didn't make the goal, so I guess I'll take tomorrow off, give everybody a rest to recoup and reboot, and I'm going to work on the book all day tomorrow. But appreciate you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Share the link, clip the show, like, share, subscribe if you're new. And shout out John Garatis for this epic mix to close us out today. Everybody take care.
We're here for you. The role of a Jew is to be a light to the non-Jews, to be an or lagoyim, as we find in Isaiah. That's the whole purpose of the Jew.
The goal of the nations are to humble themselves before the Jewish nation. If they are able to humble themselves before the Jewish nation, they will gain tremendous blessings.
That is the Jews. That is our job. It has always been the job of the Jew, is to show the non-Jewish world that life has meaning, it has purpose.
We have to talk about how we're God's chosen people. We have to look the world straight in the eye. We have to stand strong and proud and tell them that we are the chosen people. So have a little respect, why don't you? And have a little humility, why don't you?
تهديد جديد للطواقم الصحفية كما نرى على الشاشة. عنصر من الشرطة الإسرائيلية يتدخل أثناء
The world should see that light comes to their life from us, a real light, a holy light, and this how evil will disappear from the world when Mashiach will come, and we already started the period of it.
My name is Mickey. I'm a major in the IDF Reserves. And I'm also a volunteer police officer in the Israeli police. I got a message for the people of Gaza. You better stop running. Anybody who's going to be left in Gaza when we get there, all y'all are gonna die. Each and every one of you.
As the prophet Isaiah said, "Unetaticha or lagoyim, liot yeshuati ad ktseh haaretz." I've made you a light unto the nations, bringing salvation to the ends of the earth.
Without Torah, there is no goodness, because without godliness, there is no goodness. I hope finally Israel can stand up and say, we are the chosen people and we were given the land of Israel. If you want to be moral and you want to be godly, let us teach you. Sit down quietly like good kids in a classroom and we will teach you what morality means.
Forget about
you have
it.
no idea.
Just like the Christians who say we'll have no morality without God and the Bible. Thanks for your rabbi arguments, Rabbi Dyer.
It would be good, of course, to experience a launch here, a different experience.
You know what you got to do? You got to keep a low profile. If you got a fancy car, don't show off with it in front of the goyim. You want to build a beautiful house, don't make it so fancy outside so the goyim, your neighbors are going to say, wow, look at those wealthy Jews. Keep it inside. Keep a low profile.
Shame on the goyim. Keep going. Sie einem aber. With their geld.
The world is collecting all of its wealth, so to speak. But ultimately, who are the ones who will receive that wealth? The opposite who it would seem, it's the Jewish people.